What's up again, YouTube? America. June 2026, 250th. Go America. Anyways, I am out here working on the Honda Pioneer, and I've been trying to think of a few things for having this being trail ready to overland, I guess you want to call it. And I got this idea. So I'm out here, and obviously, in order to overland, I want to be able to carry a spare tire. You can see I got a high lift jack here. I'll be going with a shorter one that I'd like to take along too. But there's different things you could do. But I'm looking at this bed, and if I have a spare tire, fuel cans, anything like that, I got to come up with some kind of a way to keep them from bouncing all over the place. I can ratchet strap them down, and yeah, for the most part they would stay where they needed to go, but it's going to be bouncing all over the place. And you can't really do a permanent mount, because then now you got all kinds of stuff mounted in your bed, and then what do you do for when you're not out riding and you're just there at your house and you want to use the bed for hauling rock, wood, lumber, anything. Now you'd have extra stuff in here. And being this is all plastic, there's not really a good spot you can mount anything other than like right up there is a some tubes that go through. So been looking and looking and looking, and this is what I came up with. I found this at Harbor Freight, and once this is assembled, if the measurements are correct, this will fit the width of the bed going this way and the depth of the bed from here to about right there. So if that's the case, that would work on this, and then I can use that to actually secure my spare tire into, fuel cans, stuff like that. And I could always strap them to that or secure a mount to the inside of that. And inside the bed here, they got the spot for these dividers. 1.5 inches for like a 2x4. You can see them there on the other side. Now, my thought is I could run up. I could use lumber if I wanted to, but I'll probably use tubing. And I can run up this, come to whatever height I want, shoot across. That's what I secure that to. Then when I get back, I can just use like a kayak hoist or something in my garage, grab a hold of that thing, just lift it straight out. Now I don't have to bolt it down though, because I have these. I could take these to ratchet strap on all 4 corners to squeeze it down tight to where it's not bouncing around on my bed. So that's the thought, just so you know what's going through my head as we start this, and let's look at it a little closer. Alrighty, here is the unboxing. I just cut the tape, and let's see what we got. So, this is how it comes. It's 3 sections. Everything looks nice and straight. Zip tied together. I'll flip this over. Alrighty. So, we got our hardware down here. Instructions over there. We'll be cutting these zip ties. From everything I've seen, they slip together. Let's cut these zip ties here. Hard to do with one hand. But there's the one section. And I will just get this slipped together. I gotta set this down, so I will be right back. All right, let's grab this thing here. We have it slipped together. And if the measurements are correct online, it should be fairly close. Yeah, it looks like they're off a little bit. But if I elevate this a little like I wanted to, I can come forward a little bit. And so it's a little narrower, but it should look decent. Let's try this. Oh, let's try this right there, and then you can see what my train of thought is. So once I have this bolted together, my thought is this could be sitting about like this, and then I could have everything I need to take with me. I can still have stuff sitting below and strapped down, but then once I build my frame, that will sit obviously higher than it is right now. I can use those same straps to wrap around the corners of this to ratchet it down to hold it. Then when I get home, I don't even have to take stuff out if it's not stuff I carry all the time. I can get a kayak lift, just hooking the four corners, and it's just this easy rope lift in your garage. Lift this right to the ceiling, pull this back out, and it's all there for me for the next time. Okay, just open the box of the hardware so we can see what is actually in here. You got these rubber pieces. And there's an inside and an outside piece to all these. We got the U-bolts that are supposed to attach to your luggage rack. Here are the screws I need for attaching the tubes. And then this is the clamp system for the U-bolts. And there's a rubber piece in here because when you clamp this, some of that bolt will be sticking out the top from everything I've seen. So you need that to keep from scratching up your luggage if you got luggage. So if I'm not using these U-bolts and stuff, I'm not going to really need much of any of that, because you figure that would have been like coming from the underside, but you would have been going like this. Well, if I'm running this way with boards, these aren't going to do anything. So at that point, I will just get like some pipe clamps for like PVC pipe or something like that, and I can take those around this to attach to whatever I use for supports. I could do wood and do like 1x2s, and I might for a mock-up do 1x2s or something just to get to see what I need. But I will end up using tubing, probably aluminum if I have my choice. I could use steel, I guess, not a big deal. But you can kind of see, put this around here. I mean, this groove was set for like doing like a 2x6 or a 2x10 or anything like that for running dividers inside your bed. So then it's going to rest down into here. So all I got to do is, if I try this again, the phone shut off on me. So anyways, these are designed for going underneath like this for the rails that would run across on your car to clamp it down. Well, I'm not going to have supports running this direction. Mine are going to run this way. So essentially, none of this is going to do me any good. These rubber pieces, the only thing these might do me are these, 4 of these are for covering up these, and then down below, so wherever you got the screws. So these will get used. From where I had slid it together already, I need to pull it back apart to slide those on there. So when I put the screws in, it'll cover up the screws. Okay, so when you look, you can see this groove's put in here for lumber. So when I do this, I can't put feet necessarily on the tubes. I may do lumber just to do a mock-up, just so I know what size my tubes are and to go with what pattern to go to mount this. But the final I'll end up doing will be probably aluminum. If I could use steel, but probably aluminum. Being this is 1.5 inches, if I do steel, it's going to have to be angle iron. And I'd have to put a foot on if it's angle iron so it doesn't dig into my bed. But if I do that, I got to space it out enough so I could lift this thing off. If I push it all the way in, it's obviously not going to fit because it's going to be hitting here and not be in that groove. So, that being said, we may get to a mock-up. Now, I'm sure I'll have a mock-up on this video, so there's no use saying I'll get to it later today, but we'll get that. So I'm going to go ahead and get this bolted the rest of the way together, and I may see if I got a couple boards laying around here or something just to even lay across the top here or something, just to give more of an idea of what I'm looking for and brainstorm. Alrighty, so I got 2 bolts in, and I'm doing this all by hand. I'm not using a drill or anything, just for simplicity. Most of my drills are at my other property. There's like a rubber washer here that goes with it that you got to put in with them. So in order to get this other piece over, I'm going to grab a pick or something where I can get a pick behind that to try and stretch this rubber out a little bit so I can slide that over it to kind of release it to get it to cover it up. I just wanted to point that out. They don't necessarily list that in any kind of tools that they say you need, but I just wanted to show that pretty much anybody could do this, but you're going to need something to grab this to be able to pull it out to get it to slide up over this to get it to go down, which, like I said, I'm going to use a pick. You could use an Allen wrench or anything like that. So I will be back. All right, YouTube, I got those on there. In reality, even though they tell you to use that rubber washer, this one was a royal pain in the you-know-what. I ended up having to use a plastic rivet tool here with a fork to be able to push it, so it scuffed it up a little bit. The stop one slid right over. This one, I'm almost debating on not using a rubber washer on the bottom ones just to be a lot easier, and it'll give a smoother finish where it won't be raised up like this. So that's what I think we're going to do on the other side. I understand the rubber washer to help keep anything from rattling and squeaking, but you know what? If you got that rubber over top it anyways, not like the screw can come out. On a dead-end road, and that is private property back there, so I'm not sure who the hell that is going back there, but right just past the private property is the lake. Not my problem. I know the guy that owns it, and he don't really care if anybody goes back there, but probably just realize it's planted. That's one of the reasons he planted it this year instead of hay, because he had so many problems with people going back there trespassing. So anyways, I digress. As you see how easy it was to put the 2 screws in. Now I can take this, just use that to push. It is tight, and this one is easier than the other one was, but just work it kind of side by side, I guess. Get it to cover that screw up. And there is the top one. Now we'll work on this bottom one. which this one is a hell of a lot tighter, unfortunately. I would be tempted to leave these off, but I want something to be able to hold that screw in place when it comes off. Oh, this sucks. You get the gist of it. You don't need me cussing on here. All right, I got that second one on there. It took me probably 5 minutes. I had to keep working it back and forth, but those ones are tight. Those ones are royal, you know what to get on there. And I don't know if there's a, I don't want to spray WD-40 inside there or nothing and lube them up, but that might be an option. But we'll get the other section put on and get this assembled. All right, YouTube, we got her completely assembled. And I'm telling you, those rubber pieces were a pain in the ass. I guess if you were doing like a stainless steel bolt and nylon lock nut, you wouldn't have needed these whatsoever. Which I've seen people doing that on the internet and they recommended that, but that's not original hardware, so I wanted to keep it to how anybody that's seen these would be assembling it. So unfortunately, put a couple scuff marks on there when I was sliding it together, but it is what it is. And then likewise, if you wanted this all to match, you got this plate here that says Hall Master. 4 screws, that plate comes off, and then it'll look exactly like this side. So I may leave it on, I may take it off, I don't know. I'll probably take it off, but then if I'm worried about the holes, I'll just stick the 4 screws back in the holes and just leave them alone. But that's what we have for assembly, and I'm going to see what I have for lumber to do a mock setup. Okay, well, shoot, that was easy enough. I had a bunch of lumber here sitting off to the side that I was trying to do, but essentially this is what I'm looking at. So I'll have to run up to here, which I think 12 inches, because I think these side rails were 11 inches. So if I went 12 and then went across, this might be better. Let's see if I can get this up here again. There we go. That's better. So if we take this, it's 11 inches to the top of this bed rail. So I'm thinking 12, because this is 5/4 board. So this is essentially 12 inches to the top. So that's the height this would be with that. So if I do 12 inches, I come across to each side for one in the front and the rear. This is the height it's going to put it. That's not bad. That'll still leave me storage room underneath. So if I wanted, I could pop the bed. I can still have my dry bags, stuff like that, all underneath here. Stuff that I don't necessarily need to strap down. It'll be secured. And then I can put a spare tire right here in the middle if I want, or off to one side. I want to carry at least one Rotopax fuel can. Even if I take one off the YXZ, just buy another mount and then I can jump it from whatever. I would like to be able to do that. I got a fire extinguisher mount coming, but that goes on the roll cage, so that's not going to affect this bed any. It'll probably mount inside the cab somewhere, like above the passenger door or something. If I didn't have the overhead bag, I'd say I could put it right there, but and then again, there might be a way I could put it up there too, depending on how tall the mount is. It might fit around the bag, kinda. And then I also have a dust shield, one of the Kemimoto American flag dust shields, coming for the back of this also. But yeah, I think that's a go right there. I like how that looks. And then, like I said, when I don't have this in use, to secure it, once again, I got these rings in the bed. I can just take that, run straps up while it's got the steel going down, and then I can ratchet strap this. That's what'll squeeze it down, or even do the cinch straps to keep it from being able to bounce all over the place. I'll have the supports running underneath there, And then to attach it to those supports, I'll get some 1/2-inch pipe clamps, I think, for like copper piping, either 1/2-inch or even 3/8. Just snip them around this and attach it right there to that rail. Yeah, I'll have to give me a second. I'll go grab one of my spare tires, one of the originals off the YXZ. That's a 30-inch and 14-inch rim, same as what's on this, and we'll just lay it in there and that'll show us the layout. Okay, I went to go in my shed and my 30-inch spares. There's a bunch of wasps in there, so I just decided to leave them alone. So this is one of the 27s that came on this Pioneer when I got it, so this will give you kind of an idea, I guess. Then from here, it can be slid wherever. And then I'm thinking this back edge, if I get the mounts, I can get one of the 48-inch high lift jacks and have it mounted here on the back too. Then, like I said, I still got all the understorage too. But then when I'm done, all that stuff can stay mounted right on it. Hook those 4 edges up, pull it up to the ceiling in my garage, pull out, just leave it up there till the next go around. The more I mess with this, the more and more I like it. All right, YouTube, I am back. It is the next morning, and unfortunately, all the hardware store had was angle iron. So I got some 1-inch angle for the top there to set the height. Then I got my 1.5 inch that I will be using to cut the height. So that fits right into that groove. And then, like I said, I'll have to put a base down at the bottom. We'll do that, and then see what we got to spread this out a little bit to about where the angle iron is now. If I got enough, I will run across to spread the base out a little bit. So anyways, that's where I'm at. I am going to grab the tape measure and get the old Arc Captain out and get ready to start doing some cutting. Legs are cut and the side widths are cut. Love my Arc Captain. All right, YouTube, I've got some of my stuff arced up, cut up as you've seen in the last video, and I touched them up with a grinder. But now I got a few of the other supports. So right now I'm just tacked up it there. That piece is down there, that's drop off on both of these sides. I'm going to use that for the feet. And then 56.25 was my width here for going underneath. So got that clamped up. That gives us an idea. I'll have the other tube there in the back, And then I will have another one of these in the middle as an additional support, which will leave me with 20 inches of drop off. So what I may do is I may cut some of that drop off and put some diagonals in the corners too, just to steady it up a little bit. But that is where we're at. I will get some more tacking and stuff done up, do a final fit, and we will be back. All right, YouTube. Got her all tacked up where I want. The only other thing I will have is I will have this piece in the middle. We'll end up trimming this down to clean it up a little bit to get it to fit. Since these tuck under, this one's slightly long. I have this left over, and it'd been nice if I could have used that for something, but like I said, that might be the piece that I do some diagonals with in the corners just to reinforce a little bit. So let's grab the rack, set it on here, see how it looks. Not bad at all. Then I have these clips. They were PVC clips for piping that I grabbed from the hardware store that were cheap. The problem is this tubing is a little bit small for what it is. So I'll have to either run a piece of vinyl hose or something in there, electrical tape, and then I can take like 4 points and screw this down, and that will secure that to this. That's the plan, at least. Alrighty, let's keep with it. Alright, YouTube, I got her welded up. Got the centerpiece welded in. The only thing I don't have is diagonals. I'm going to do another test fit. I got the feet welded on there. And well, otherwise we should be good. As long as this all works, then I'd be able to pull her back out and clean her up some brake clean and give her a coat of paint. You know, all right, YouTube, I got her in there, and more I get looking at in reality, this sucker does not want to move, jiggle back and forth. I don't need those diagonal braces. So that being said, let's throw this rack on here one last time just to double check everything. And then I should be good to paint if I can get that done before the storms come in. All right, so there we go. This is essentially, just a hair. That's essentially how it's going to be. I want it to line up kind of even with the tailgate, personally, and then I will center it either way. And then, like I said, I got these hooks down here. I'll be able to take those and loop around this too to pull down, and that'll squeeze tight to this frame with whatever the other connectors don't do. I'll do that in all 4 corners, and then I will still have all my other storage underneath. I can put my dry bags and anything like that. If I got smaller coolers, I usually leave up in the cab, but anything like that I can still stuff underneath here. And with this, then I can also get one of those 4-foot high lifts and mount it on this back edge along with the tire in the middle, fuel can, maybe 2 depending on how we work it. Alrighty, time for the next step. All right, YouTube, I am back. I've got the coat of primer on the whole frame. I've got her flipped and everything else I got to do. Looks like I got to do a touch up right there. But that will be it. And then I can start paint, but I got bad storms coming in. It's Starting to sound like Garth Brooks is on the other side of the trees. So once I get it painted and everything and get her dropped in, I'll update. All right, YouTube, I got first coat, heavy coat on there after the primer. I might have just enough time. I got to let this tack up, and then I got to flip it and paint that other side before the rain comes in, but it's sounding quite violent. But that is where we are so far. All right, YouTube. We had a massive tornado outbreak here in southern Illinois, so this is day 3 of this. I got it painted yesterday, and with those storms that came in, it got quite nasty, so I kind of left it alone. But we got her done. Here's the end result. So the only thing I did, you got this metal frame. I was afraid of this making rattling noises down the trail and annoying the shit out of me. So I went and got some of that weather strip foam like I used on the gas cans and put that here. These clips were a little large, so I had some of that foam roll. I just took a piece of that and stuffed it in there along with screwing it down. Use stainless steel hardware, but let me flip this camera around here. Hopefully that'll get it to where you can see a little better. Anyways, now you can see. You can definitely see now. Anyways, this thing does not rattle, shake, shimmy, make any noise, nothing. Fits tight, and it's not even strapped down yet. So once I get these flipped up and straps pulled down, this is going to work out quite nicely. Foam underneath there, so I won't be having the vibration. The only noise I should get is if anything in this is bouncing and rubbing, like say a spare tire. If the rim is hitting this, it may make some noise, but I'll figure up something there, even if I make a mount, an actual physical mount for it. But it is done. I don't think it looks too bad, and all for all, I am kind of pleased. I took the plate off. That said that Hall Master or whatever. So that other side, you can see the 4 screws that are in it. Up here from where I took that plate off. But it ought to work out quite nice, I think. So now I got up above for gear. You can see I got stuff down here. I'll be able to do like dry bags and stuff down here. And anything else that maybe I can put a strap over to keep it from rattling and bouncing. But that is the final result. First ride we get with her, we'll post it. Like I said, now I should be able to take any kind of like a kayak lift on the corners, and this whole thing will lift right out. And then I can leave the gear in it and everything. I'm ready for yard work. So just another little tip and trick. And I will be posting here fairly soon on tips and tricks on the Pioneer 1000, things to look out for. Lord knows I've torn this thing apart enough to tell you different things to look out for if you're looking to buy one of these machines. But I tell you what, the more and more I use this, the more and more I own it, the more and more I like it. So keep an eye out for that. It'll probably be here within the next week or two. Probably more like 2 weeks, because next week's I got a couple pyrotechnics things over the 4th I'm going to be working, so we'll be setting up the fireworks for launching at night. All right, well, this is what we got. That's the end result. So stay safe, ride hard. Quadzilla out.